Hello, hello, hello. So I've been getting spiritually attacked a lot the past couple days, partly because of the production of this YouTube video, and partly because of a family member being in the hospital right now. But it goes to show this video is important and needs to be shared because it involves part of my testimony. So here we go. This is me at about 12% body fat. I say about because I believe I am below 12% now. And by the way, if you're a newlywed man who wants to take care of his body, lose weight, gain muscle, and take care of everything else in life, from career to focusing on his family to building the vision to getting finances right to build wealth, then you're in the right place, because I'm here to tell you that you can spend your time focusing on everything while getting in shape. Because I used to think that that wasn't possible, and Ashley was the person who had been doing that for a while. And I tracked calories too until it didn't work out, so I don't track calories now. And even though I was doing everything right on the outside, internally I did not have peace. And God gave me peace. And I did some other things too that helped me get peace. Some secular things that is not sinful, but it's pretty useful. But at the foundation of it, since my faith is the rock, Jesus is my rock, faith is such a big part that helps me do everything in life, yet have peace, yet have presence, and yet feel present personally. And so, without further ado, this is me. And I took these pictures about 2 days ago, and I am looking pretty lean, pretty mean, and pretty jacked. And I weigh 142 pounds. So, like I said before, I lost 3 pounds from 145, and it's great because I didn't really do anything crazy. And this is me. So it's pretty cool. This is a PR if I had done it for 3 sets, which I didn't. I did 2 sets, and I started off doing 30 pounds until my wife told me to increase the weight. So I think, though, I could have done 3 sets with 35-pound dumbbells, which would be a PR. And it felt really good. I think I could have gotten it if I started off doing that. But all to show, right? Like, I've been getting leaner. I've been getting just in the best shape of my life continuously. And I've been getting stronger too in the gym, which is pretty crazy because my system is pretty simple. So if you didn't know, I have two parts of the work I do with newlywed men. They are the identity work and the Taylor systems. So if you go look at my channel, I have a couple videos on identity work and the results and all that good stuff. And that's the work I do with clients. So we talk about people pleasing. We understand that self-worth is already there as a human being. And especially if you're a Christian, then Christ thinks so highly of you. You don't need to worry about that. You're not defined by missing a workout. You're not a failure. Definitely not that. And so what happens is when people miss a workout, we tend to spiral. And it's so easy to spiral because we think we don't have what it takes. We're weak. We're a failure. We're not worth it. We'll never get the result. And then the devil likes to use that opportunity to get you into depression, get you into a spiral of doom and gloom. And honestly, if I'm being transparent, I was doing that today because of the spiritual attacks. So, it's really important to really focus in and recenter where is your identity at. Because a lot of the men out there, right? I had two clients whose identity was not where it needed to be. And so we recalibrated that and we recentered them into where they should be. And so if you're a Christian man, just know that your identity is in Christ and that you are not your performance, okay? You are not how you do things at work. And it's really hard as someone who is disciplined, as someone who is consistent. If you're, I don't know if YouTube will will target people who are disciplined and are successful in their careers, like how Instagram does. But maybe, right? But let's say it does. If you're watching this, then if you're watching this and you are disciplined and you are consistent in your career, then just know that that might be an opportunity for the devil to use that, and specifically to use performance against you, because you're already successful in one area of your life. The question is, there's always more to the story, right? So it's not wrong to be successful. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, though, is this. Some of us, like me, I was so driven, and I was carrying this type of energy of push harder, work harder. You just got to grind more. And that type of energy is very toxic, because I didn't know it at first, but it came from a place of trying to prove myself. Trying to prove myself in a way that led to worth. The more I achieved, the more self-worth I felt, the more worthy I felt as a human, as a person, as a man, and as a husband. And little did I know that I was running my life like that for a while. And if you didn't know about me, I took a high performance training program in, I believe, maybe 2020, right before COVID. And that really solidified a lot of good habits in me. You know, I became a person who really worked hard. I cut out scrolling and I saved 20 hours per week, which was pretty cool. But also, I didn't understand what I was picking up also was this toxic hustle energy. And I carried that into the schooling that I did for 7 years in bioengineering. That was the career field I was in, and I carried that into my marriage. I carried that into my work and my business, and also my faith. And so what led me to breaking that, a big part of that, like 90%, was really understanding how God sees me. And that's really beautiful, because the Bible is so loving when you read it from that aspect. And you have to ask the Holy Spirit to unveil your eyes, because from me, right, I read the Bible from front to back once, every single word, for a year and a half. It took me that long to finish, because I was trying to get all of it, all the meaning, all the interpretation. I was trying to understand what it means. And so, but the Holy Spirit didn't give me that revelation yet. And I trust His timing. And if you want this revelation of where your identity is, ask the Holy Spirit. He's going to show you that you are so loved by Christ. You are so cherished by God. And I didn't realize that because of my past history with my dad. You know, I grew up Vietnamese, and as a Vietnamese American, my household environment was sort of promoting and sort of encouraged me to get good grades, perform in a certain way, and that's when your parents love you. Now, I love my parents. I'm not bashing them. I'm just saying my experience growing up in the household. And yeah, so a little more on identity work in the future. I want to talk about systems here, because I haven't really talked about systems on my YouTube channel yet. So the question is, what is a successful system? Well, first of all, I believe that simplicity is the answer to everything. A lot of the fitness industry now likes to complicate it, and a lot of the people too who are looking for answers. So if you're watching this, I don't think you are the type of person who I lost my train of thought. But hopefully you value simplicity, because it makes your life so much easier. And if you have a business, you definitely know what I mean by having simple systems and just simplicity in general, because the more complicated things are, the less peace of mind you have, the more decisions you'll have to make, and it's just not as clear. And so simplicity gives you clarity, And the other thing that makes a system successful is it being tailored to you, your lifestyle, and who you are as a person. Because, me working out 3 to 4 times a week might not suit you in your situation. Maybe you want to do more. Maybe you're going through something and you want to be in the gym more. Maybe you just want to be in the gym more because you like it, for whatever reason. Right now, I love my workouts. I love being in the gym. I don't really track my time. I go from about 60 minutes to 90 minutes per session. I don't time any of them. I just time the rest periods. And it's great because I'm not always looking at the clock. Where in the past, when I was doing shorter workouts, 30 minutes per session, I was always looking at the clock because I had somewhere to be all the time. That was a very stressful thing to do. And it worked for that season. And way back when, before I was a bodybuilding.com ambassador, before that even, I was always on the go. I was a college student. I had a lot of homework, a lot of studying. I wasn't really the best student naturally. I had to work a lot to get B's, A's, and C's even. And so I'm going to show you a schedule here. And this is something, no, that's my current schedule. See, all nice, all white space, which is the goal. The goal isn't to have a schedule like this. And this is the schedule I had 4 months after I got married. So picture this, right? Newlywed Quan, the husband who is trying to provide, who is trying to lead his wife, who is trying to conquer life and attack the day and crush the day. And this is stemming from my identity, right? Because the energy of attacking the day and pushing harder and conquering the day is such a strong message in the self-development space online. And you see people, these big name influencers and business owners, and you look up to them. I did for a while, but this energy, if you're a Christian man, isn't fruitful because you're not giving up control. You are sort of, you're not trusting God. I wasn't trusting God when I had to schedule because I thought that if I just plan out my day exactly how I like it, nothing's going to happen. And it has to be this certain way. And whenever things came up that knocked it off the wheel and I had to adapt and be flexible, it would be a big issue. I felt like it was the biggest issue, and it was very stressful because I wanted control. And being a control freak isn't good because at the heart of it, right, you believe that I did. I believed that I could control everything to get success. But in reality, in this season of life especially, I'm learning that I don't have a lot of control. And that's okay because it doesn't change anything. I never had that control to begin with. And so I'm not really losing anything. In fact, I've gained so much for this realization from the Holy Spirit because it's freed my inner soul. It's freed my spirit to where it needs to be in alignment with God, trusting Him and trusting His plan. No, I'm not saying there isn't control, right? Like we have a decision to make to better our health. We have a decision to gain muscle. We have a decision to set the clock either at 8 a.m. tomorrow or 7:30 a.m. tomorrow or whatever time. And so there is a sense of control, but the control I'm talking about is more of a heart posture. And God is God values that a lot, and he wants your heart to be in the right place. He wants my heart to be in the right place. Because if it's not in the right place, then the devil can get a foothold. And it impacts our relationship with God too. Right? I'm in a place where I'm experiencing His love for the first time, and it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful because coming from a father who lost his father when he was 15, he never got a chance to really experience that himself. And if you know anything about Asian culture, most men aren't really affectionate. And yes, they provide and they show their love through possibly, for me, it was my dad funding my education in college up until my master's. And he did that every single penny. I never got a scholarship because I was just never offered any. I wasn't good enough. And it's okay, you know, I'm still worthy as a human. But my dad's love was great in that it's just, as Asians, it was never shared in physical touch or words of affirmation, which is important too. And I appreciate what my dad did. So for the first time, I felt God's love. Despite being in Christian school all my life, I'm almost 29 here in a couple of weeks. Despite reading the Bible in school, learning about theology in a classical Latin school, learning about Martin Luther, the guy who nailed the 95 Theses at the church, learning about all these saints and monks and everything. And it, it was so, it did a lot of damage to me, not gonna lie, because I didn't feel his love, right? I didn't feel like God felt like religion to me, and God felt so far from me. But now I feel his love so much, and it's great. So let's see, I got off tangent here a little bit. But this schedule is a reflection of what life used to be, you know, chaotic, stressful. I wasn't flexible. It was very hard to work here at the CLIA lab. And if you see here on the bottom, it says mission, which is the business. And I would work out 4 times a week, spend some time with my family. It was my my parents' anniversary that day. And then we had Easter Sunday, so I spent the day with family. And after that, I couldn't really relax because I had some client nutritional things to send my clients, right? And over here, it was just so stressful. It was so stressful. And I don't think I spent a lot of time with God in the morning. It was very short. You know, not to say that, not to be legalistic and say you have to spend that much time with Him or a certain amount of time with Him, but the I just didn't have that space for Him naturally. And now I don't track my time with Him, but I spend, I spend about 60 minutes to 75 minutes per morning with Him, uncapped. It's great. I don't feel rushed. I feel present, and having that time in the day is very grounding for me. So let's see what else is on the schedule. Yeah, it looks like on Wednesday I had some tax things to do. I don't know about you, but I used to use my, and I still do. I use my Google Calendar as reminders too. And most of the things here are events though, so they remind me of where I need to go. But yeah, it looks like I had some tax things to do. That's a task. And another tax thing to do. That's another task. And then I went to Goodyear. And yeah, it was just a lot and it was stressful. But now, looking at my schedule now, life is way much different. It's been 4 years. I literally only have 2 things on the calendar this week, and it's great. The first thing here is a task, which I did in less than 5 minutes. And then I was supposed to meet my mentor today, but you know, we had to reschedule because or not today, tomorrow, but we had to reschedule because I'm working a double tomorrow. And yeah, my work schedule, I remember for the most part. I just go into the work app when it's not as consistent. Most of the time, it's very structured. I know when to go, so I don't put that on my calendar. So that's a tip for you. And then, yeah, but whenever they change my schedule, then I look at the work app. I don't put it in the Google Calendar anymore. I just, the working there at my day job is such a a big part of my life right now that I don't really need to be reminded to show up. It just naturally comes into my mind, and then I check the work app. And that is actually a better position to be in, because I used to believe that all my life had to be reflected in the Google Calendar. But now the perspective shift is I'm just using this to remind me, and for some events I will put on the calendar. So yeah, like the meeting with my mentor, like he uses the calendar more, and he sends me the invitation, and I say yes to it, and then it pops up on my calendar. But personally, I don't really use it to keep track as much as I did in 2022. So it's great. So with this setup, I can actually spend time with my wife despite not having put anything on it. I spend time with my wife, which is a default desire already. So if you're a Christian man watching this video, then you probably resonate with that desire. And yeah, so for me, it's like, why would I schedule time with my wife when the first thought in my head is to always try to spend time with her already when I have free time? So my schedule and my priorities are fit into a way where I do have free time. So that would be the first step I would do if you don't have any free time. And when I had this busier schedule, I thought that I needed to put everything in it, right? For example, the Goodyear here on Wednesday. I thought that I needed to put everything in it. Let's see, do I have time for my wife here? No, I wish I did. Yeah, let's just here 1 second. I need a drink. I'm thirsty. Let's just pretend that the Goodyear is time with my wife. Okay. I would be in the mindset of thinking I need to put time with my wife to make time with her. But that doesn't actually solve the issue. I would rather do it this way, where I don't put time with her, and I naturally just follow the desire of wanting to spend time with her. So you might say, well, how do you remind yourself then, or how do you actually spend time with her and commit to that time and make it happen when it's not in the calendar? Well, the answer to that is, one, I say no a lot to a lot of things. Okay, so anything that doesn't fit my priorities, like my wife, I say no to. And so that clears up all of the unnecessary things in my calendar. And then two, I delegate. So that frees up a lot of space on my calendar. And the second thing I do is I recenter my desires. So if you're a man who always says that he wants to spend time with his wife, or maybe you are working a lot and you're working extra, and then you're saying you're trying to provide for your family, please have a reflection time and look at your heart, because what your family wants more than anything else is your presence. So first you have to understand that and do the inner work on that, and then shift your mindset with work, and then naturally you're going to start to realize that, okay, maybe my intentions and my focus wasn't in the right place. Maybe you had the right intention, but your focus was just off. So recenter yourself on your family, on your wife, and then try to think about her in a way that is serving, in a way that is from a place of gratitude. So think about the past that you guys share, how you met, and all of that. And what you'll find is, I think you will be like, if I were you, I would do this. And I think you would be in a place where your heart will be opened up to where you will always want to spend time with her with the free space and free time that you have from the first step, which is delegating and then saying no more so you can actually have the time. So, yeah, so to sum that up, say no more, delegate things that you don't need to do. And the third thing is to have a heart to heart with yourself, see if you're actually focusing on your family and doing things that serve them and your wife. And then if not, then reflect on your guys' history and how blessed you are to have your spouse. And then that's the open door to get you to want to spend more time with her. So it's really the desire of wanting to spend time with her that pulls you in. And then the open space from your calendar and from delegating and from saying no, the space is there already. So on one side you are pulled in, and then on the other hand you have the space already from saying no and from delegating. So yeah, the benefits of having a great system is this: you don't have any stress, you have clarity, you have peace of mind, you are not reacting, and you're not on edge, and you're present, which every man wants. And so this is more of a sort of calendar approach to the system, because once you have free space, you're going to have more time with your wife, you're going to have more time for the gym. And if you already spend time in the gym, like me here in 2022, right, you see the green right here, workout, but internally you don't feel at peace and you feel like something's off, then doing the 3-step that I talked about, it's going to help you too, because naturally you're going to feel less stress from a less full calendar. And then, the other part is leaning into God more, which I already mentioned. And then in terms of, I want to talk about what I did to get this picture. So I lost 3 pounds recently on accident. I was trying to to gain weight, but I actually lost 3 pounds. And I believe is mostly fat, which is great, because while most people try to lose fat and lose weight, it's so hard for me to do it. And the system I built for me allowed me to do that by accident. And so right now, let's see, I'm going to type because, man, it paused. I don't know when it paused. So what we talked about so far is the system, and this right here is going to be the fitness aspect of the system. So before we talk more about the logistical aspect and the calendar aspect, but now let's get into the fitness stuff. So 3 to 4 workouts per week, and I used to do 30 to 45-minute workouts. And this was, let's see, I believe, after the 2022 schedule here, where I did an hour each time. So I did the shorter workouts for a reason, is to save time. And again, like when I did that, I was in a very much of a tight space in my sort of situation because I didn't have a lot of time to spare. And while I wasn't stressed out as much as in 2022, it goes to show that you can do longer workouts if you want to and enjoy them, and you can do that. And what gets you peace isn't really the time frame, because although 30 minutes is shorter than 90 minutes, I'm doing longer workouts now, yet I feel more at peace with how I'm handling things and overall internally peaceful on a day to day, on a moment by moment. And so just because you have shorter workouts doesn't necessarily mean you are guaranteed peace, is the key takeaway. And then what I shifted into my system, and again, when you have a fitness system, or I don't want to call it a fitness system, because that can mean, okay, so just remember, right? The system we're talking about for fitness is the calendar, the logistical side, and then the actual fitness, like the workouts, and then the nutrition. So whenever you have a system that serves you for your fitness goals, it's going to be flexible and adapting all the time because life is changing all the time. And you're going to change as a person, your priorities are going to shift slightly, and they're never going to be concrete the same. And so it's important that you have a system that is willing and can actually adapt to you instead of having a system and where you have to do this and that and that and that and just trying to follow it to a T, because that in itself is a misbelief that you need to do things a certain way and you need to be strict, and that is from the extremism side of fitness. And the industry preaches a lot about that, and I'm here to say that you don't need to be extreme, you don't need to be strict to get to where you want to be, because here I am at 12% body fat year round, looking great, and my fitness system is always changing. And so one thing I changed here too is instead of doing 3 to 4 sets of an ab machine or hanging leg raises at the end of the workout, I switched it to 10 minutes of ab exercises with minimal rest. So most of the time my rest would be 5 seconds. And whenever I would rest, well, or when would I rest? It's really when I can't take it anymore, when my abs would be so burning to a point where I need to stop for a breath or two. And so, yeah, I would literally just set a timer and then string together ab exercises that are done on a yoga mat. And I would just do some groundwork until the 10 minutes are up, focusing on obliques and my upper abs and my lower abs and everything else. So it's really cool. And yeah, that's the system. And it's really cool because nutritionally, I don't follow any sort of diet. I just eat in a calorie deficit and I eat high quality foods. And sometimes, like yesterday, my wife and I went out to see Toy Story 5. We had Chinese food beforehand. I chose the fried rice. I chose the General Tso chicken, which is fried. And I had pot stickers. I had, an egg roll, some spring rolls that are fried. And then I had a McDonald's ice cream afterwards, and she had a McFlurry. And so it's really just being in a calorie deficit most of the time, enjoying yourself sometimes, and choosing high quality foods most of the time. And I will do a video on the specifics about that, about the nutrition more. And yeah, I hope this video helps you. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And let's see. Yeah, even though I'll make the video on nutrition later, if you want that same framework, I call it the thirds method, that doesn't require you to track macros, track calories. It's just a visual approach of your plate each time you eat. Message me the word third and I'm going to send it to you. I don't think YouTube I can send it, but I'll reach out to you and probably send it on Instagram or Facebook. So see ya.